Okay, so this is going to sound a little wild, but today we're going to connect a 2,400-year-old philosophical idea with the absolute cutting edge of artificial intelligence. It's a heck of a jump, so let's get right into it. So here it is, the big question for today. Can a story from ancient Greece really tell us anything meaningful about the future of AI? I know, it sounds like a real stretch, right? But stick with me, because the parallels here are, well, they're pretty mind-blowing. All right, first up, ancient shadows, modern minds. We're about to build a bridge between two worlds that couldn't possibly seem farther apart. So to really get this, we've got to go way, way back. We're talking 2,400 years ago, to one of the most famous ideas in the history of Western thought. You're looking at Plato's allegory of the cave. The idea is pretty simple, but it is super deep. Imagine prisoners who've been chained up their entire lives, forced to stare at a blank wall. Behind them, there's a fire, and people walk past carrying all sorts of objects. What do the prisoners see? Just the shadows of those objects flickering on the wall. For them, that's it. That is reality. That is until one of them breaks free and finally sees the real world outside for the very first time. And this is the absolute key point. The shadows aren't the real deal. They're just projections, flat, flickering copies of the real thing. It's a simple idea, but you've got to hang on to it because this is where everything starts to click into place for today. All right, now let's hit the fast forward button, a big one. We're jumping 2,400 years from that ancient cave straight into a modern AI research lab. This brings us to something called the Platonic representation hypothesis. And here's the wild idea. Researchers are suggesting that all the data we feed our AI, all the images, the text, the sounds, are basically like Plato's shadows. They're just different projections of the same underlying concept. So a photo of a cat and the written word cat, they're just two different shadows of the true essential idea of a cat. So here's the more academic way of putting it, right? From the researchers. What they're saying is that even if you train one AI on nothing but images and another AI on nothing but text, deep down, they both start to build a surprisingly similar internal model of the world. It's like they're both feeling out the shape of the same invisible object, just from different sides. They're converging on the same truth. Let's really dig into this, because this is the heart of it all. All that data we have, the JPEGs, the text files, the audio clips, that's our modern version of the shadows on the cave wall. So you have one AI, right? It only ever sees pictures of cats. It learns one kind of cat shadow. Then you've got another AI that only ever reads descriptions of cats. It learns a totally different cat shadow. But the amazing thing the hypothesis suggests is that somewhere inside their complex networks, both of these AIs are starting to grasp the same fundamental catness, the true form, just like Plato talked about. And this just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? On one side, Plato's prisoners. For them, a shadow of a horse is a horse. That's their entire reality. Now, look at a modern AI. For that AI, a million photos of a cat or a billion sentences describing cats, those are its shadows. But by analyzing all these different projections, the AI might just be doing what Plato's escaped prisoner did, figuring out the true underlying shape of the concept all by itself. It's a really profound idea that these systems are independently discovering the fundamental structure of our world. So if this hypothesis is even close to being right, it raises some absolutely massive questions about the future, and specifically, what's our role in guiding these new kinds of intelligence? I mean, just think about how far we've come. When AI was first being sketched out in these founding documents, the whole challenge was just, can we make a machine seem smart? Today, the questions we're asking are on a whole other planet. Which brings us to this really critical point. If these AI systems are actually starting to figure out a shared model of reality just by looking at the shadows we give them, what does that mean for us, the creators? What's our job anymore? And this is the big final question I really want to leave you with. If AIs can find their own way out of the cave by piecing together the structure behind all our data, what do we do with everything humanity already knows? Our science, our philosophy, our art, the whole shebang. Could we use that as a shortcut to help them convert on reality faster and more accurately? Or, and this is the scary part, is it possible that all our knowledge is just our own preferred set of shadows, and by feeding it to them, we'd actually just be biasing them? It's a 2,400-year-old question that has suddenly become one of the most urgent challenges of our time.